an amazing fasting hack that worked for me with the weight loss. So recently, I've been trying, different strategies and refined strategies of weight loss. So weight loss has been a passion of mine for, I would say, the most of my life. And I used to be very heavily overweight, actually obese, and a 46-inch waist, and now 30-inch waist, of course. And I I think about 20 years ago, I found a way to drop a lot of weight, a difficult way. And ever since, it's been a passion to find easier ways. And I recently found a fasting hack actually that works phenomenally. And I wanted to share it with you because I'm sure, this is of great interest for many of you. And that's what I'll be discussing in the video today. I would like to firstly ask a great favor for those of you who like the contents of my video, to please don't forget to also press like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is going to greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. And an additional optional extra favor, if you can just drop a comment, I would love to hear from you, and share it with your favorite social media channels. Okay, that'll be super wonderful of you if you could do that. For those of you who don't know me, I am Osman, hashtag the blind Muslim yogi. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments. Amazing offer. I have a 10-minute anxiety fix for just $5, and delivered to you instantly, telepathically, anywhere globally, and pay only after it works. And that goes for all my protocols, right? And contact information, visit my website, yogawellness786.com. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching now for 46 years. In that period, I've studied under various masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures, and across the globe. From the Far East, the Middle East, the West, including the scientific communities. And I basically used all my knowledge creating my own unique protocols and adapted them basically to the 21st century, making them faster, quicker, easier, more time efficient, and results oriented. To that end, I now have students in over 100 countries. And my favorite protocol is my 5-minute yoga and meditation program, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, where you can also get more information about my services. Please also remember my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. So, with regard to the fasting hack, firstly, you have to know that fasting or intermittent fasting or anything, you have to consult with your doctor and get his go ahead before you can attempt something like this. Because, especially with any form of fasting, and you may have some underlying conditions or you may be on certain medications that may be affected negatively, may affect you negatively if you adopt any fasting, right? And even if you're not on any medications, you have to check with your doctor first as well, because you're going to put your body through some abnormal stress, and these are going to be on a consistent stress basis. Because the one that I'm talking about is the intermittent fasting, and I know about the intermittent fasting, the 12-12, the 14-10, and the 16-8, fast. So those who know about intermittent fasting will know what I'm talking about. I'll come to it shortly. And you're going to be doing this on a daily basis, right? So basically, the 12-12 means you're going to have a 12-hour eating window, and 12 hours you're not going to consume anything nutritive. You can drink, water, your non-sugary teas and coffees, right? That's about it, right? No sodas and diet soft drinks and all that. I mean, now and then some people make an exception, but it's got a lot of chemicals and so forth, which is not really healthy. You should try to stay away from it. But 12 hours non-nutritive, right? And the 10-14 is 14 hours. You have a 10-hour window in which to eat your food. So if you like get up by 7 and have your first meal by 8 o'clock, means your last meal is going to be by 6 p.m., right? And then after 6 p.m., you'll have nothing until 8 o'clock the next morning. So that is 14 hours. Then, of course, the recommended is 16-8. That 16 hours you don't consume anything at all. And usually, this meant that when you get up, you just stretch your fasting window a bit more because it's easy not to eat immediately after you wake up. And you have your last meal at 7 p.m. and your first meal at 11 a.m., right? So you've got a 8-hour window in which to eat your food, and you consume nothing nutritive from your last meal is going to be 7 p.m., right? So that was traditionally what we learned. Then I heard a recent podcast, and I don't know the name of the doctor. I keep forgetting these names of this doctor, and was interviewed by Stephen Bartlett. It was last week. It was last week of November, right? Around the 26th, 28th of November or so, I think. You can search for the podcast called Diary of a CEO, and the host of the podcast is Stephen Bartlett, and he interviewed this lady, and she was she is a PhD doctor, specialist in internal medicine, and had spent 25 years of her life studying the effects of nutrition and fasting on improving health, right? And she says that the important thing is, and this was the game changer for me, that you must try to eat earlier and avoid the meals later. Instead of having your meal at 7 p.m. and starting at 11 a.m., rather make your last meal at 3 p.m. So like that is 4 hours earlier, and 4 hours earlier is like by 7 a.m., right? You'll have 7, 8 o'clock, you'll have your first meal when you get up. But the basic rule to have nothing after 3 p.m. And the reason for that is they said the food that you eat in the morning, every bite, um, that you take in the morning, and it's like when you take the same bite in the evening is equivalent to 10 times what you ate, the single bite in the morning. So it multiplies the negative nutritional effect or the fat storing effect by 10 times when you're having something after 3 p.m. I said, wow, this is an amazing statistic, especially because she's interviewed by Stephen Bartlett in the Diary of a CEO. I respect his channel very much, right? He's now got like about 10.6 million followers in his YouTube channel on the Diary of a CEO podcast. And he interviews some amazing guests, right? I would say he's someone up and coming, almost, I would say, comparable to Joe Rogan, right? Because the top two podcasts that I listen to is the Joe Rogan and Stephen Bartlett, right? So, number one, he doesn't just interview anyone, right? He selects his guests very carefully. There must be some top expert to have been selected. Secondly, she's got a PhD, and she's been doing this, studying this field for 25 years of research, right? And when she says something, so it carries a more weight. So 10 times more, one bite in the evening is worth 10 times more the bite in the morning. I said, hey, let me just try following her rule and not having anything after 3 p.m. So I'll have my morning meal and my lunchtime meal. And I'm into, I'm vegan and raw cruciferous vegetables and, very healthy stuff, right? For basically mainly for energy healing to improve my energy levels. So I found that dramatically improves my energy levels. Plant based, whole foods, plant based um, um, foods, especially cruciferous vegetables and the flax seeds and oranges and lemons, citrus fruit as well. I blend it with citrus fruit and have it. And I also have a normal meal as well, right? So, and normally I'm having my last meal, by latest 1 p.m. Because if I'm going to eat anything after 1 p.m., and I prefer like by 11:30, 12, before 12, because I'm normally doing my yoga practice and so forth after 6 p.m. And I feel having a 6 hour window before I'm practicing the postures makes it easier for me, especially with the breath work and the kriya and the pranayama and and so forth, right? So, because we twist ourselves into some heavy angles, so I prefer to do that. So I didn't stop at 3 p.m. I just had my last meal, my lunchtime meal, and I didn't eat again until the next morning, right? Man, I changed towns, and when you change towns, you getting meals prepared in some places. I mean, mostly I prepare my own meals, but this place I'm staying in, I'm getting the meals prepared for me, and it's like really amazing food. And within a 3 month period, I gained 3 inches in my abdomen. I was struggling to do, especially the head to knee posture, because yes, I'm flexible, but the stomach was in the way. It like cut my breathing, and I couldn't breathe properly. I said, "Hey, I'm getting too fat. I must," because I was like, I really dropped a lot of weight earlier this year, and I went from a 30-inch waist down to a 28-inch waist because I was trying a few strategies, and I'm always trying, different diets, right? Because for the benefit of my clients, I don't like to recommend something that I myself didn't try. So then I went to around 31 inches and tried reducing my food and so forth. And over a month, I couldn't decrease more than an inch, and I found myself struggling to lose weight. I said, no, with time and consistency, I would lose. But when I tried this, cut the evening meal out, man, I was within, I think, a week or 2 weeks, I was able to do my postures easy and lost the weight, and my clothes started to get loose. And that was a really amazing fast loss without starving myself. I mean, I ate normal food lunchtime, right? A normal plate, right? Not a half a plate or anything, like reasonably like a full meal, right? Just my morning meal was like something 600 ml smoothie, right? It's got probably a third of a pound of cruciferous vegetables and a third of an orange and a third of a lemon, in it, because I have it. I do one blender over 3 meals, right? So, and the blender, each meal I fill it into a shaker bottle. It's about 600 ml, the shaker bottle. So that's what I've been having, and but just by dropping that last meal, and I'm trying to lose weight, for decades, right? And I do successfully lose, but at this rate, so easily, just cutting one meal. And I found, drinking black coffee. I don't drink a lot of it. I drink maximum 2 cups a day, right? And but it's like an appetite suppressant as well. It makes you feel full, So in the that I just disciplined my mind and stayed away from it. An amazing result. I would encourage you to try that out before you try any major diets and so forth. Just cut out your, don't, I mean, you can eat, got time window until 3 p.m., right? You're not doing this thing. And don't eat after 3 p.m. and see how that works for you, right? And give it about a month, right? 2 to 4 weeks. Give it 4 weeks, right? And see how that works. And I think it will put you in ketosis and help you to burn the stubborn fat in your body. That's what it's supposed to be doing. And that is something so hard, to burn the stubborn, especially the belly fat, right? So, hope that information helps you, and take care of yourself always.